I lead our high school to the state finals. After we win, take us to the Final Four in my first year. That's my plan.
Don't go to sleep. You gotta stay awake.
Our dear Lord.
It's a brain tumor, isn't it?
Hollywood often proves they have few original ideas left. American Sniper and some of the other Oscar-nominated films are the exception. But perhaps if there were more faith-based movies, many believe society would be a lot better off. Then again, what's wrong with a little bit of action in your faith-based film as well? Let's tackle the subject and welcome into MidPoint, chairman of the Christian Film and Television Commission and publisher of Movie Guide, designed to evaluate movies suitable for the family. Ted Baehr joins us on the show. Ted, pleasure to have you here.
Oh, it's great to be with you today.
Ted, there is always that phrase, faith-based. And when you talk to a lot of people in the movie industry, they will say, don't call us a faith-based movie. That's a bad thing. We don't want to hurt our dollar. We don't want to hurt the bottom line. It's just the opposite, isn't it? It seems that faith-based movies do very well in many parts of the country.
Well, let's look at the facts. I mean, last year there were movies that just did incredibly well that were faith-based. They did about 10 times more at the box office. I'll just give you a few examples. Heaven is for Real was made for $12 million, and it was made by Sony Affirm. And a good friend of mine, Randall Wallace, who I talked to yesterday, who's doing the Braveheart truck for, I think, GM and some other things. But it made $91 million at the box office the last time we checked. God's Not Dead made for $2 million, made $61 million. So that's a tremendous profit margin. And then let's see the Hollywood movies that were not faith-based, the not Christian. Transcendence was made for $100 million and made $23 million at the box office. Pompeii was made for $100 million and made $23 million. So actually, movies with faith and values always do better at the box office. And if we looked at last year's report of the entertainment industry, 60% of the top 10 movies in last year's report had strong conservative values, and none of them had any strong liberal, leftist, or politically correct content. So you're talking about a tremendous disparity. In fact, movies with patriotic faith and values last year did $104 million on average at the box office, and movies without it did barely $1 million.
Well, here's the question now. Does Hollywood make these movies because they want to make better movies for the family with a better message, or do they make it simply because they want to cash in?
Well, you're asking a very simple question, but it's got a very complex answer. And here's the complex answer. The complex answer is that there are about 250 to 300 movies released every year. That means about 5 movies a week. You know, if 5 movies a week are released, only one of them is going to succeed. American Sniper, Johnny Depp's last movie, Mordecai, is going to fail. That's just the nature of the box office. You can't sustain more than 5. Of that, 40% of the movies are released by Hollywood. I mean, after all, Warner Brothers released American Sniper, and we've got all the biggest studio heads coming to our awards gala next week, and you've got the top people who are doing movies like Captain America, Winter Soldier, etc. They want to reach a big audience. So in Captain America, Winter Soldier, you not only have the Bible, you have a Bible verse, the Bible is quoted, and you've got a lot of patriotic content. So the 40% of the movies are released by the major, and the majority of those want to reach a broad audience, and when they don't, they go out of business. Of that, 60% are released by the minors, released by independents, George Clooney, excuse me, here's people like that, and Participant Media, etc. Maybe somebody from Silicon Valley who wants to get in the industry. They generally do not do well at the box office. So, those movies are the reason that the faith-based movies and the patriotic movies do so well.
Let me ask you this. I only have about 30 seconds left, Ted, and I want to get you to answer this question. I heard a lot of people had trouble with Noah because it was too action-based, as they said. It still had a positive message, right? You can still have action and a faith-based theme, can't you?
Well, you can definitely have action in a faith-based theme. In fact, it does better if you do. The problem with Noah is it brought in some of the stuff from the Book of Enoch, and evangelical Christians didn't like that. But a friend of mine produced Noah, so I don't want to take that issue on from that point of view. It did $340 million worldwide, which wasn't too bad.
No, it's not too bad at all, and it still is, the core of the story. It still is good storytelling, and it would seem that America indeed wants to have better storytelling, and they want to have something they can take their family to. We want to remind everybody that they can go to MovieGuide.org find out a little bit more about what you do and about the people who can then look at the films and make sure that they're good for their families as well. Ted Baehr, marvelous idea that you have with Movie Guide. Really, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again.
Have a great day.
All right, you too. The Department of Justice is following you in your car in ways you might not have imagined. The Car Coach is here with that and a whole lot more as we continue right here where we question everything on MidPoint.